I want to quickly throw back to you, Ben, as well. I was just writing in the chat, actually, so you got to know. I noticed on your Twitter as well, and after the race, of course, many of the fans who have followed Jimmie Johnson from either most or all of his career, a few of them are now saying that they're done with him because he's moving away from Chevrolet to Toyota. So can you just give us a bit of information about that? Because you were at the front of it as well with your tweet saying that it was ludicrous almost.
Yeah, well, that was a tweet that I didn't expect to gain as much traction as it did, but I think it's a sentiment that's shared by a lot of people in the industry. And it goes back to Toyota coming back into this sport in 2007 and even earlier in the Truck Series. I think, there's still this stereotype that NASCAR is a purely American sport, and we want nothing to do with Toyota, even though Toyota's roll out the assembly line here in the United States while Chevy and Ford get their parts from Mexico, but that's none of my business. Which car is truly the most American manufacturer in the Cup Series? But I mean, I just think it's crazy to me that I'm actually. I mean, you would think the guy committed murder. I mean, that's what that's the reaction that we're getting from some of these Facebook comments that this is a massive betrayal, that I can't support Jimmie Johnson anymore. I'm throwing away all my Jimmie Johnson stuff. He put a knife in my heart because he made a business decision that's going to benefit his new endeavor here as he transitions from driver to owner. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I also wanted to bring up as well, where did Jimmie Johnson spend the last 2 years of his career? He was driving an IndyCar. He was driving for Chip Ganassi, who runs Honda engines, where the only competition is which manufacturer?
Chevy and Honda.
There you go. Too. So I just don't understand why. And listen, I totally get the whole win on Sunday, sell on Monday thing. That's been a thing since NASCAR's inception here, even though the cars aren't truly stock anymore. They haven't been for years. I get manufacturer loyalty, but to call out Jimmie Johnson like some of these fans have and say that this is an unforgivable sin, to see him in a Toyota, to see the 43 car in a Toyota, Richard Petty in a Toyota. I think people are taking it way too far. I think this is a smart business decision. And I think like I said, it's going to benefit both parties in the long run, not just Toyota, but also Legacy Motor Club to have that full TRD support. I just think people are making a mountain out of a molehill with this.
Matt, I follow. Oh yeah, go on. I was going to ask you a follow-up, but I'll let you
on a similar kind of train of thought here. Nobody lost their collective when Michael Schumacher came back and went to Mercedes. He's a Ferrari man.
That was my question. You took the words right out. Wow.
Oh, okay. If Lewis Hamilton does go to Ferrari, he's not going to Ferrari. Will that the same thing happen? I don't know why this seems to be a kind of NASCAR thing, and maybe more so a Jimmie thing.
Matt, there are people that do not collect Toyota diecasts because they want. I mean, that's the level that they if their favorite a scheme that they really like is on a Toyota car, they won't. Yeah, I mean that's the level that some of these people take it to. They see Toyota and the alarm bells go off in their mind that Toyota is evil and has no place in this sport. This is an American sport. Get that Japanese fake manufacturer out of here. That's the mindset that they have. It's ridiculous.
My other NASCAR diecasts, which are just over in front of my telly, are also Chevrolets, but I also have the Ford thing here. So I don't know where I stand. I could be on all fronts here. I'm just a Journey fan.
You bring up a great point, actually, with the American manufacturers being there as well with Chevys as well. Now we're moving away to Toyota. A similar shift happened in MotoGP as well. They moved to more Japanese manufacturers as well, away from the traditional Europeans and the Italians as well. From Ducatis, they moved over as well. And it is a question is that we've seen since even in the mid-90s when Toyota actually brought out the Corolla as well. It's a very dependable technology firm nowadays, Toyota. But is it more that it's more of a spiritual impact? We know fans as well. There's the fans in the grandstands, and there's the fans sort of in the infield, in the mosh pit area as well. Is it more, do you think, them who are mainly affected, the people who live, breathe NASCAR as it's their sport, they built it? Or is it more of a sort of a general consensus that, well, he's always driven a Chevrolet, now he's going somewhere else, akin to Schumacher going from Ferrari and coming back with Mercedes? So is it a change of world, or is it a betrayal of country almost?
I guess I guess I can take that. I
Yeah,
think
go
it's a
back.
little bit of both. You know, I think some people brought up Tony Stewart as well. One of the replies to my tweet, and I can't verify this because just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true automatically. I think we all know that at this point. But and also I was 8 years old at the time. But somebody said that in 2008 when Gibbs went over to Toyota, Tony Stewart lost like half of his fan club, and then in 2009 when he joined forces with Haas and became an owner driver and was reunited with Chevrolet, he gained all of those lost fan club subscriptions back. But again, I think some people were upset when his team moved to Ford in 2017 as well. So there is that manufacturer loyalty, and again, that much I understand. But this idea that we're so anti-Toyota just because they're not American, you know, I think that's you know, it's an outdated way of thinking at worst, but also it's one that I simply don't understand.
Let's catch up on some. Oh, go on.
Well, quickly, just similar thing kind of happened in supercars, didn't it? The couple last year when the Walkinshaw team, who were the Holden factory team for so many years, business decision, they changed to Ford. Oh, you can't do this. Da da da. I'm not going to support you guys. They actually gained fans from this, from their metrics of social media and everything else. So it's a bit like when Austin Dillon came up. Ben, you'll know when he came up. They can't run the free. That number should never be used again, etc. We don't talk about it now. This is just because it's in the news. Everyone loses their collective over it. Next week, something else will happen, and no one will care.
You know, and I hate making stick and ball sports comparisons, but I was trying to think of one yesterday. And again, one of the replies to my tweet that came in, I think, hits it right on the head. Again, as much as you can try to make the comparison, imagine if you're a fan of, you know, an NFL team or an NBA team here in the States, and you like wearing Adidas gear yourself, and they wear Adidas gear, they provide their uniforms, and then they say, okay, we're switching to Nike next year, they're a new partner. Are you really going to revoke your fan, you know, your favorite hometown sports team for 30 years if they switch from Adidas to Nike? I mean, that's essentially what you're doing here. The engines supply the equipment, or a huge part of your equipment, for your team, and you're going to walk away from 20 years of being a Jimmie Johnson fan just because he's going to start driving a Toyota. Makes no sense to me.